Get up, get down. Get up, get down with the bass and sound. Get up, get down with the bass and sound. Get up, get down with the bass and sound. Get up, get down with the bass and sound. Get up, get down with the bass and sound. Get up, get down with the bass and sound. Get up, get down with the bass and sound. Get up, get down with the bass and sound. Get up, get down with the get up, get down with the bass and sound.
Hey.
That was crazy.
Oh, baby, was it?
Ha! Yeah.
Just so everybody knows.
Do I need to turn this back up so we can hear ourselves?
Yeah, you can do
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whoop,
So let's try this. Yep. Okay, so we still got audio. That was Down by Rude Lies.
That was cool.
Yeah, I
I
liked
liked
that
it.
song.
That was a good song.
Yeah.
I'm glad we
good
picked that one.
The one before it was Red Line by Anna Yvette. We just picked a song because we were just getting ready, so we figured we'd put some content up there for you.
There's actually a lot of good songs by Anna Yvette on
Oh, really?
No Copyright
You've noticed
Sounds,
that artist is a little bit
yeah.
better?
Yeah, for sure. Rude Lies, I don't know. I mean, that's the first time we've used a song by Rude Lies, but
Yeah. It looks like we've used two by Max Brahan. Remember last week
Brahan?
we did the Cyberpunk song?
yeah.
And it looks
Max
like
Brahan.
one of the other ones that we put on there.
What up, Twitch world and
Was Max
podcast
Brahan?
listeners?
Yes, absolutely. And YouTube watchers.
Whoa.
We are on
And
every
Spotify
platform.
listeners.
Yep. We just did we were just talking about like our Spotify rewinds or whatever,
So
how many
cool.
how many minutes you've listened to and
Yes.
which artist you listen to the most.
You know,
et cetera, et
if you're an
cetera.
avid Spotify listener, you know, you can go on Spotify right now and see the 2018 basically stats and insights for your entire listening career for that whole year. It'll tell you the top 10 songs, it'll tell you who your favorite artist is, how many artists from different countries you listen to, how many hours of music you listen to. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, genre rankings, if you're genre fluid or if you have a specific genre that you like.
What was
All
your favorite genre?
I don't remember. I think it was like pop songs or something because I'm always riding in the car with Sarah, so it's always
Didn't
pop
you have
songs.
like a weird one on there? It was like metal something.
Metalcore.
Metalcore.
I think that was it. I don't know what band classifies as metalcore that I listen to.
It must have been when we did a lot of listening for Icy Stars and
Yeah, it must have been.
Our Last Night.
Yeah, I
because I think they're metalcore or metal
Yeah,
something.
maybe Icy Stars is classified as metalcore.
I think Dakota's watching. Is that right?
I don't know.
Is that what I see?
Actually,
I don't know. Somebody is.
somebody's watching.
But hey, if you're watching right now, I want you to comment and tell us how our setup looks because this is a little bit different for us right now. You can see a little bit more of the table. You can see a little bit more of the background. We set the lights a little bit further away so you can kind of get a wash.
Yeah, no,
It's
it
kind
looks
of
good.
nice.
I
I
think
really
it
like
looks
our
really good.
background. It's like a yarn hanging craft thing. So, I'm just going to mention it every time that you aren't in talk shows and podcasts. You're so right. Please
I gave
do.
you my
please,
reasoning last time.
please mention it every time.
You just don't actually listen.
Yeah, that's
Soda.
true.
So for our listeners, we have someone in our chat that is trolling us.
Well, I want to talk about it actually because
Okay.
I've been doing some this entire week. I was looking through the Twitch feeds and trying to discover some new stuff and watch some different shows and things like that might be similar to ours. And there's a lot of shows like ours that are still in just chatting, but there's a lot of stuff in talk shows and podcasts that's not also talk shows or podcasts at all. It's just
So there's
chatting
lots of stuff that's just in the wrong sections altogether on Twitch.
Yeah, but I'm not saying we're necessarily in the wrong section. I'm just saying that, I feel like they're subjective. But really, there's more watchers in just chatting and more potential followers. And that's just the greedy part of why I think we're in here. I think there's a good chance that we can easily get to the top page or to the front page in just chatting rather than talk shows and podcasts. People don't usually just go into, if they're looking for something entertaining, unless they want a talk show or a podcast, they might just be clicking just chatting because it's popular.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's my reasoning.
He's talking about, and girl streamers that are doing Just Dance and chatting, more watchers, all the more reason to switch to podcast. I don't agree. But
I mean,
whatever.
well, there is a point there because I did think like, hey, if we did catch on enough to where we can get up onto the first page, I think that the followers are going to come a little easier because they're going to be able to see the quality of our production. But at the same time, there's no way we're going to make it into the top 10 because he's right. All the top 10 shows are basically girls in bikinis talking about nonsense of what they had for lunch and the stupid Tinder date they went on and things like that. It's so stupid. But then again, someone might think what we're doing is stupid. So whatever. I guess whatever.
Whatever. I think to each his own, and I also think that we could always try it out. I mean, if it doesn't work, this is basically an experiment, and I don't really care if we can go to talk shows and podcasts later, say 50 episodes from now, because we're going to be doing this for a long time.
Yeah, so it says we won't get viewers at the bottom of the just chatting page, and maybe he's right. Maybe it's like the opposite of what I'm thinking.
It's always
maybe we should just be in the.
Everybody's always just trying to figure out the algorithm.
Yeah.
And nobody's ever going to figure it out because once you figure it out, then they're going to change it.
For sure. Until we do something that's obnoxious or, is people are super offended by, we're probably not going to get famous anyway.
True.
So, I don't know. That's just how that goes. I'm not really into it to get famous. I mean, I don't really care.
Me neither. I just do it because I like hanging out with you.
Successful.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does make sense.
Because you can be successful and not
without
be famous.
Yeah.
Cool. I agree.
All right, Nalo, what are we talking about today?
Oh, let's talk about that. That we're both wearing gray hoodies today, unplanned.
Absolutely unplanned.
I was like, man, it's freaking cold. Like, it's cold.
Yeah, it's
outside.
snowing.
Stupid.
Hard.
Literally this morning, we walked out of the house at 8 o'clock this morning, and it was 42 degrees.
That's warm, actually.
Yeah, I went outside. I was like, whoa,
For
it is
Montana.
like... It's like unseasonably warm this morning, and then by 10 o'clock it was raining. And I was like, this is a weird day. And then by noon it was snowing, so the rain had covered everything with water, and then it got below freezing. The rain turned into snow, and then the snow went on top of the ice.
So now it's real slick.
And that is a formula for just terrible roads.
Yeah.
So, and just grumpy people, because I get grumpy when it's cold.
Yeah, you were
outside.
kind of grumpy when I showed up today.
You watch out, Phil.
You were really grumpy.
I will out grump anyone until I had my rock star pure zero.
Hashtag ad.
Just kidding. We're not sponsored by anything. That's just a really good energy drink.
Not yet, at least.
Well, I mean, we're sponsored by everything. Just they don't know it yet.
They just don't know yet. Right. I like that. I like that mentality.
Yeah, I don't even know how you do that. You just wait for somebody to come and say, "Hey, cool."
You could probably reach out to people over and over and over and over again, but I don't know if that's conducive to actually getting anybody.
Go on to Dr. Disrespect and just, hey, come watch my channel. Hey, come watch my channel.
Yeah.
That's like what people do. And
Yeah.
It's so stupid and annoying.
You can actually get banned from certain people's channels for that. Like moderators will see that you're trying to self-promote,
Yeah.
and they get mad about it.
Yeah. That's
Well, because it's just not a good thing to do, anyways. You
it's disrespectful.
Absolutely.
But I mean,
but
Dr. Disrespect.
Dr. Disrespect.
No, he's got a cool channel. Actually.
He just signed a deal with an actual TV company, like a TV show company. I don't know I can't remember what exactly the details are on it. I didn't really read the article, but
it seems weird to me that
headline.
somebody like him would do that, because I feel like you're controlling so much of it yourself already, and then
Now you're going to give up a lot
now
of
you're
that.
going to give up a lot of the
Yeah.
control for money. I mean, he's making a ton
Depends
of money.
on how much money.
He's got to be making tons of money.
Well, yeah, he's making tons of money, but how much money they're giving him for the deal?
Maybe it's less work too.
Absolutely, it probably is. Takes a lot off his plate, probably.
Oh yeah, streaming 8 hours a day. I mean, it's a full-time job.
Yeah, and his
doing that.
production value is incredible.
Yeah, it is. It's like watching a movie.
Yeah, it is. Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, like seriously, back to the sweatshirts here. I'm wearing my Lat 45 hoodie, which is an amazing hiking company here in Montana that takes youth kids and troubled youth kids up into the mountains for free and just does amazing, like hiking trips that you would have to pay thousands of dollars to do. They
Yeah, to
just
have
do
a
it for
guide
free.
and all
Yeah,
that.
they have guides and everything. It's pretty sweet. They provide you all the equipment. Anyway, that's the Lat 45. That's what I'm wearing because this is something I love and I support them a lot. So, and you got your Bobcats.
Hell yeah.
This is for a reason. You're wearing your Bobcats.
No, I mean, I obviously went to college there,
Well,
but I don't know. I think I bought this sweatshirt when it was like I was visiting the university for the first time.
yeah.
So I bought this sweatshirt probably 6 or 8 years ago.
I'm gonna
And
go to
it's-
college here.
It's actually lasted really well. Like it's a little stretched out on the cuffs,
Yeah,
but that's
I
because
just get
I
hot
roll
in
it up. Yeah, I roll it up and then, well, I guess not roll it up, I pull it up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like middle of my forearm. Forearms are jacked.
I'm glad you don't roll up your sleeve on your hoodie.
That
That
would look so funny.
you would be the nerdiest nerd out there.
But yeah, so I guess I bought this like first when I first started basically at MSU, and I mean I wear it all the time. But there were some playoff games recently for U of M and MSU. Actually.
Yeah,
we had
it
two
was a good
Montana
week.
games at the same time going.
For sure.
So I went with my stepdad to what was it Brew Pub yesterday and watched both the games. They were streaming both of them on 2 TVs. It was pretty cool to watch both teams play.
Yeah.
And the different styles and stuff. 'Cause
Not
I don't-
against
I don't
each
really-
other.
I don't know. Yeah, not
Yeah.
against each other. They were
Yeah.
playing random teams. Like one
Yeah.
was like Southeast Louisiana or something, and they're up in the 30-degree cold, 35-degree cold in
That's great.
Montana. Yeah. I really don't watch any football, but I mean I know the rules and stuff like that, but I don't really like take time out of my day normally to watch it. But
It's
it
still
was
cool.
cool to watch
Yeah.
my team, basically my college's team, play against actually a pretty good team, but
Yeah,
both
you-
teams did really well.
You got some buy-in to the
Yeah.
being a fan there.
U of M scored like almost 70 points against the team they were playing against.
That's crazy. That's a lot.
It was a lot, and MSU scored probably 50 plus. So it was a high scoring games for
They
sure.
recently just played each other like last month, right?
Yeah, and MSU won again, 4-peat
Yeah.
baby.
Just destroyed them too.
Yeah, they did kind of roll them.
Them
A little
Grizz. Grizz. Evidently, they don't know how to play football anymore against.
Mm-hmm. Soda's saying
MSU.
that the only college apparel he has is a hat. I think this. I played club hockey for MSU, so I have some like club hockey MSU stuff.
Nice.
But other than that, this is like my only like MSU apparel that I own.
I don't think I have any.
I have a pair of shorts too, but that's it. That's it.
I don't think I have any, like, apparel for Yellowstone Baptist College. Yeah, there's nothing. But I do have some University of Kentucky apparel, and I've got cousins and family that have graduated from there, and I've been a fan of UK basketball. I still don't watch it very often at all. I watch baseball and baseball. Pretty much that's it. I watch you play hockey.
Yeah, you do. We got a game tomorrow.
Tomorrow I'll be there.
Yep. For those of you listening 2 weeks from now, it's not tomorrow, actually.
Yeah,
But
that's weird.
it's
Every time we talk about that, I'm
yeah,
like, what?
my brain breaks every time we talk about. We're live right now on Twitch.
Don't talk about the date.
The podcast episode comes out in
1 week. 1 week from today.
well,
actually.
yeah, yes, it is 1 week from today.
Yeah. So right now is when you're listening to this. If you're listening to it when it came out, today is Monday I have no idea. Monday.
16th?
Yeah, something. Monday the
Yeah, Monday the 16th.
Monday the
If you're
16th.
listening to us right now, like watching us live on Twitch,
Yes.
it's
Well,
the 8th.
we're recording it on the 8th.
It's December
Yes.
8th.
Yes. That's just how it has to work, you know.
Yep.
If you want good stuff and have some time to do production, things like that, you just got to Gotta do it.
Yep.
But this is live. I mean, if you're on Twitch watching us, you get all the mess ups. That's the good part of watching live because it's so fun. It's so fun.
Yeah, it is. So
Cool.
I think today
Smash that button.
we're going to talk about
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Santa, The Mandalorian, Halo Reach.
Look at this high quality graphic. Like it took me a whole 1 minute to make that.
35 seconds.
Yeah. I do. I make all the graphics for our our channels and our social media and things like that. But I like the graphic that we spam onto the screen to be super cheesy
Yeah.
because it's fun. It's fun. It's fun.
I didn't even spam it while we were dancing. I should have. I
You
totally
should've.
forgot. I knew there was one thing that
we
I
haven't
forgot.
we haven't spammed some things onto the screen for like 2 episodes
Yep.
now. So,
It was about time.
dude, the picture that I chose. Let's look at that again. So this is like I don't know where
Here, we
or
do this.
what, but this is the inside. I'm guessing it's like a pole in the inside of like one of those Christmas trees that they make out of Christmas lights.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like. But
It's a hefty pole.
yeah, I guess
It's like a radio tower looking
probably
thing.
all those lights and wires weigh a lot.
Yeah.
Plus, you don't want it to blow over in the wind. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
It's
Are you sure
probably
you
a
don't
pretty
want
tall
that?
one.
You wouldn't want it
I mean,
to fall.
I don't know. Maybe you do. So, but yeah, we're gonna talk about Santa, the Mandalorian, and some Halo Reach release,
Yeah.
which I was excited about.
And to be honest, you know more about, well, I guess not the Mandalorian subject, but you know more about two of these
Santa?
subjects than I do.
Santa.
Well, in
Yeah,
the sense we're going to be talking about it, I
Yeah,
guess.
I mean, we don't have to wait. Let's do it.
Well, let's get into it.
Okay. Well, Santa, I know him.
Yeah? What's he
No,
like?
here's the thing. I said, "Hey Phil, do you want to talk about Santa?" In the sense that is it okay? Should we still be telling kids, and what is there magic behind it still? Is it a good idea to convince your kids that Santa gave them gifts? Is it a bad idea? I've got kids. You guys are planning on kids for the future. I mean, what do you want to do when you get to that point? What have you guys talked about it? What are you gonna do?
It's kind of an important, it seems to be a very important subject
Yeah.
because we were just at Sarah's parents' house for the holiday for Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a little niece over there. I think she just turned 4 or 5. I think she's maybe 5. I can't remember. I guess I probably should know that.
She's your niece. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Bummer deal for me. Tell you what. So it was like we didn't know if we were supposed to talk about Santa or if it was not. We're not supposed to talk about Santa, or if they're teaching her about Santa, or.
Yeah,
But I mean, your kids go to school with so many
Right,
other kids
right.
that like either believe in Santa or their parents have told them that Santa doesn't exist or Santa does exist.
Yeah.
It's a weird situation to navigate. So it actually came up a lot on that trip.
Yeah.
And I was pretty confused as to, like, because I grew up.
Puts you in an awkward position.
I grew
even.
up thinking that Santa was real when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And that Santa brought us presents on
Do you
Christmas
remember the
and-
point where you knew that Santa was? I mean, that. Spoiler alert.
Oh shoot!
Do you remember the point when you realized Santa was just kind of like a made-up fun story?
No,
You don't?
I don't
All right.
actually. I kind of wish I did actually, but no, I don't think I remember a specific time. I know I was like around 7 or 8 or something when I figured it out. My mom had some hamsters that we were getting for Christmas one year, and they were like running on their wheel. 'Cause
Yeah.
She had them in her closet, up in the top shelf of her closet.
But you didn't know that you had them yet.
right? And
But
so
you could hear them running
and
on the wheel.
I could hear like a noise in her closet. I was like, "Mom, what is that noise? We got to figure this out." Because I was like afraid the house was like had some infestation or something. I don't know. Yeah, and I was a kid, so I don't know how
I
I
hear
was
a
thinking about
rodent
that.
in
Yeah.
the closet. I'm not an idiot.
Right. And so I hear it just like running on its wheel, and they were plastic cages type.
Yeah.
back then they had like a plastic bottom, then they had cage, and then they had a plastic top, and everything else inside was kind of plasticky.
Yeah.
And so the wheel was plastic, and it made like a rumbling noise. It was like really loud. Like I could hear it. So my mom's room was upstairs, and my room was downstairs.
Yeah.
And her closet was, I guess, probably above my brother's room, which was a little bit farther one way than the other from my room. And oh my gosh, you could hear it. Like during the night, they were like just going and going and going. I'm like, can't sleep. This thing's just like making a real loud rumbling
You didn't
noise.
even know what it was.
Had
yet.
no idea. And then we got the hamsters. I think it was supposed to be from Santa.
How long were these hamsters living in the closet?
I think it was like a week or two.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, it was a long time. And so I think that was like one of the main points as to where I was like, I don't think Santa's real.
Yeah.
And there's always the kids in
Sure.
school that are like, no, Santa's not real.
Yeah, he is. Whatever.
Yeah, it's like
My mom says he's real.
recess fights over whether Santa's real or not.
I bet you there is. I mean,
Yeah.
there's kids arguing right now at this time of the month with other kids at school whether Santa's real or not.
In this day and age, I think it would be pretty hard to not teach your kids or tell your kids that Santa's like.
It'd be harder to
Something.
convince them it's real than
No, it'd be harder to tell them no, Santa's not a thing. It's not something that I
Yeah.
want to like tell you. Like Santa doesn't bring you presents.
yeah.
Because all the other kids in school are going to be most of the kids in school
Sure.
are going to be getting presents from Santa, and your kids are going to be like, well, why don't I get any? You know?
True.
Because
Well,
some people don't like to tell their kids that Santa is a thing, like
That's what I'm
or
saying.
the Easter Bunny or the
right.
the Tooth Fairy,
Tooth
or
Fairy, yeah.
any of those mythical creatures.
Krampus.
Yeah.
Krampus is going to come and just steal your feet.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. So I was scrolling Facebook, and I have some groups that I'm in to kind of help support some youth ministry and things like that. And one of the youth pastors on there was like, "Hey, I didn't expect this tonight. I spoiled Santa for 2 7th graders."
Oh
Like-
no.
How does that? How do you get to that point? You know, how did you get to 7th grade?
Yeah, that's a long time.
Yeah, 7th grade is like 12,
Yeah, 12 years old.
maybe 13,
Yeah.
and you still believe Santa exists. And this is like United States,
Yeah.
middle class.
Yeah.
To me, that's crazy.
Yeah, I
was
agree.
just like, I was a little
Absolutely.
mind blown.
Yeah, it would be if I came across a 7th grader that still thought that Santa was real. I'd be like, "What?
Yeah,
Who are you?
It's so weird.
Who are your parents? I want to talk to them because they've brought this.
Well,
they've had
that's what I'm
this secret kept for that long. That's crazy."
That's why, like, it must be important for some people then to, continue this tradition or something. But I've been seeing people post or get passionate about how we shouldn't be teaching our kids that Santa gives them expensive gifts, because as opposed to the other side of it, kids that are in poor families that don't get gifts, they start getting this complex, like if they believe in Santa, Santa is, I'm not as important, I must have been naughty,
Yeah.
I don't get cool stuff because I know my parents can't afford it, but I've always got Santa to get me stuff. But Santa doesn't give me stuff, he only gets Jimmy stuff, So I think that most of these people were saying, it's important to teach your kids that stuff comes from you, comes from, it's a gift you're giving them for their hard work and your hard work, and it's
Yeah.
earned, and something, it's a benefit and a blessing that you can have to give gifts to people. And I agree with that. I mean, I agree that puts us in a good mindset. You don't want kids thinking up or growing up thinking that they've done something wrong that they haven't done, so.
Yeah, it's a fine line to walk for sure. It's like there's so many effects that you can have on your child just from some meaningless thing that happens at the end of the year every year, Like
Yeah.
it's such a weird dynamic that you can put into a child's life just by saying, "Oh, Santa's real. Oh, Santa's not real." Like
Sure.
it's a crazy concept to think that something that small can have like great long term. I mean, it can have great or bad long term effects on a kid
Yeah.
and
I don't even-
subsequently an adult.
And my kids are 11 and 15, going on those ages, coming up soon. And probably the one that we push most is the Tooth Fairy because it's funny. But like Santa, I don't think we talk about Santa and we mark gifts like this is from Santa, but now that's evolved into like us just being lazy. Like some of the big stuff that we get them that we don't want to wrap or buy wrapping paper for, we just like pull it out that morning, like before they come down. They're like, whoa, where did these weird ones come from that are unwrapped? They must be from Santa. But it's all a big joke, The kids, half the time, the kids already know that they got that because of Amazon, and
Right.
it's exactly what they asked for.
Yeah.
when he texted me with his cell phone, and it's like, they know, but we joke about it. But the one we push is the Tooth Fairy because it's funny.
What makes it funny?
Because like, from about like 7 years old to about 13, that's when you're losing your teeth anyway. So it's like
Yeah.
hard to convince kids of that age really that something else exists anyway. So we like,
Right, they're like, well, wait, Santa's not real, so like,
yeah, the Tooth Fairy now.
Yeah,
I mean, I
definitely
saw
not
a
gonna be
movie
real.
where they hang out together.
Yeah.
It's,
that's funny.
but it's like, so we make things seem like they just randomly happen. We're like, oh no, Tooth Fairy's not real. It's just a joke, and then something happens and we're like, maybe it is real.
Wait, what?
I only put 50
some-
cents under your
Some
pillow last night.
anomaly. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's funny.
I only put 50 cents under your pillow. How'd you get $5? Or like, we'll tell them, or
Oh
we'll
my
leave it
gosh.
under there for like a couple nights. And we're like, Tooth Fairy must be like really busy, or something.
Yeah.
Or
That's
put
funny.
more teeth under there.
Yeah, instead of putting
Yeah, that's what happens when you're naughty. The Tooth Fairy leaves you teeth instead. Just save up
That
their
is
teeth
funny.
over a couple of years. I don't know. It's just funny, some of those things. But that's how we view it anyway. It's like a little more fun way to enhance the holiday and enhance the experience. Not really. I don't know. We never really wanted our kids to believe in Santa. When I was a kid, I don't remember ever really believing in Santa, but I know that I did at least a little bit because my grandparents were probably the ones pushing that.
Mhm. If you were to go back, so I take it Santa was a thing with the kids growing up.
My parents are boomers.
I'm talking about you with your kids. You basically what am I trying to say here? Jeez, back it up, Phil. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. You
When me and my brother were young,
what I'm trying to say is you with your kids
yeah.
told them that Santa was a guy that would come to the house at night on Christmas Day or Christmas morning or whatever and drop some presents off for them when they were growing up. You did. tell
Yeah,
them
I mean, the funny thing is, we would say like, you read the night before Christmas story, right?
Yeah.
I mean, everybody does that with their kids when you're younger, and down through the chimney, we're like, well, Santa comes through the chimney. We don't have one, so
yeah, all the questions pop up. Wait,
Yeah.
if we don't have a chimney, how's Santa going to get in our house?
for sure. Or we'll leave cookies out, cookies and milk for Santa. That's
Mhm.
like a thing that people do,
That's
And
going to be
then-
my favorite part.
Yeah, and we'll take bites of them, and we'll be like, "Oh, Santa came last night, and he ate some of those cookies,
And he took the carrots for his reindeer.
Yep,
Yeah.
took the carrots for his reindeer, and then, I'll like pull out the other half of the cookie from my pocket, and I'm like, "Oh, I didn't really hide that very well. Did I?"
Sorry about that.
Like, oh,
That's funny.
it's really just me eating the.
If you were to go
cookies.
back and do it again, the whole raising the kids, believing in Santa. Well, I
Yeah.
guess not believing, but like knowing that there is possibly a creature out there that runs around on one night a year
Yeah.
and delivers billions of presents.
It's honestly really creepy.
Do you think you would do it the exact same way?
I don't know. I think that we probably would continue the tradition of making sure that they don't trust in Santa, but then maybe it's just like a fun thing, like maybe a little bit of some magic and fun in it, but things that are harmless for kids, really. I mean, it doesn't matter one way or the other if a kid is believing that there's a little bit of magic here and there, but it's once they start trusting that Santa's going to bring them something, or they start having this fear in them that if they don't do something right, then Santa's not going to bring them a gift. I want them to know if they're not going to do something right, they're going to feel the wrath of Dad.
Yeah, instead
not worried about what Santa's going to do.
Gift on Christmas.
So, like that's how I think we did okay, and there was no intentions in it. I think we just lucked out and did okay, because some people try really hard, and maybe they're doing it wrong, or maybe they're doing it right. I don't know. We just lucked out, I think.
Yeah, it's kind of a hard subject because of all the weird anomalies that you can have with kids growing up and thinking a certain way about Santa and etc. So, but yeah, that's really cool. I think I would like to say that I'm gonna tell my kids that Santa's real, or that while they're young at least say, oh, Santa's coming, he's gonna bring you a gift. But I think you touch on a good point where you don't want them to think if they do bad things during the year that they're not going to get a gift, because that's not something that I don't know. I don't think anybody should teach their kids that you should get a gift if you're good. I mean, you should just be good to be good.
Right. I think there's a medium came out, okay, that is great for people that like to help their kids believe in some sort of a fantasy thing for fun and things like that, but also leaves out all of the worrisome stuff.
Yeah.
Is Elf on the Shelf.
Yeah, people do some funny things with these elves on shelves.
Yeah, and the point of it is that you're not supposed to touch it, or the elf loses his magic, and he'll leave. But so many days before Christmas, 20 days, 25 days, or whatever before Christmas, the Elf on the Shelf comes and he does things like get your house ready for Christmas and things like that. But he's kind of naughty too. So like he does, some people have good elves, some people have bad elves, depending on what you want to do. But you can set up fun things for this. And then
fun little scenes that.
Yeah, every day your kids come down, they're like, let's find out what the elf did. Our elf in our house, his name is Crispin.
Okay.
And Crispin.
Do they always have a name? Do people normally name their elf?
Well, I think it's in the instructions. You should name your elf. And his box is his portal.
They come with instructions?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It comes with a box and things. And gives you, the parents' suggestions on how to make it magical and fun. But Crispin, at first, Crispin did a lot of fun stuff, and a lot of naughty stuff. And he'd like dig in the dog food. You'd see his legs sticking out of the dog food bag and stuff. But you're not supposed to touch him, so you can't help him. And then by the time the kids get home, you clean it up or whatever. But lately, we've been so busy that Crispin hasn't been doing anything.
Oh, no. Bad Crispin.
We totally got away with something because we had Elias go find the portal box, and he half dropped it, and Crispin's legs came out, and he smashed it together.
Oh, no.
So Crispin's legs are sticking out of the box. And so we just have the Elf on the Shelf box sitting there with Crispin's legs sticking out.
He couldn't get all the way through the portal.
So he hasn't done anything for days because he's stuck in the
and his
portal.
legs are probably broken because they got smashed.
So we're like, he hasn't come out yet. I don't know what the deal is. But they know it's fake.
Right.
And they know it's us doing it.
Yeah.
But they appreciate that, we're taking time and to hang out with them.
Well, and it's a fun thing
things.
anyways. Yeah. It's fun. I mean, at least I've seen a lot of there's videos on Facebook of people doing some fun things with them. And I mean, kids love that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So I feel like that's the better version of what Santa used to be.
Yeah.
And Elf on the Shelf can be really annoying when you are sharing your Elf on the Shelf. Listen up, people on social media. If you're sharing your Elf on the Shelf experience with your kids, with everybody else on Facebook, no one cares, okay? So just as a heads up, no one cares about your own Elf on the Shelf unless you're making awesome dank memes out of it. No one cares. Just keep it with your kids, and so I think that's where the fun really is.
Don't post your Elf on a Shelf on Facebook.
No,
got it.
No, it's so stupid.
In my notes of parenting from NALO, because
for reals.
I mean, hopefully in the next few years we're gonna have a little chillin'. So I gotta start compiling all these notes together and make sure that I can be
You totally
as
get
good as NALO.
But I think there's been the most recent meme is where they have like the Thanos action figure, and they crushed up a bunch of candy canes and then put the elf's hat at the top of it in the shape of like a body or a pile of ash.
Yeah,
So it looks like Thanos killed.
that's
the elf.
funny.
That's a good way to get rid of your elf right in the middle of the month. Be like, I don't know what happened. I guess Thanos showed up. And
I just don't want to do this anymore.
Thanos killed him. Sorry, kids. I guess you won't get
Good
candy
excuse.
canes.
Good excuse. I like it.
I don't know. So I don't know. There's a lot of magical things. I don't even know. I guess I don't really know the real story of Saint Nick, except for he was like a good guy. They
I
like
don't
gave
either.
to people and helped people out, and
Yeah,
that's kind of
you can
how
look
it
it up
evolved.
on Wikipedia, I guess.
How Saint Nick evolved, into Santa Claus, and I'm sure just like everything else in the entire universe, it's Santa is based on consumerism.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, the toy industry has sold so.
I mean, you can't blame him.
Has made so much money off of the concept of
Right.
Santa. It makes me wonder
You can't
when
blame him
Santa
though. I
became
mean,
a-
like that's
became
just
a
part of
concept.
like building a business and trying to be
Oh,
successful.
absolutely, yeah.
So I mean, whatever.
All right, Saint Nicholas.
Santa Claus.
Santa Claus was an early Christian bishop of the ancient Greek maritime city Myra in Asia Minor.
Also known as Nicholas the Wonder Worker.
During the time of Roman Empire. Because of many miracles attributed to his intercession, he is also known as Nicholas the Wonder Worker, like you said.
Nice.
Patron saint of sailors, merchants, archers, repentant thieves, prostitutes, children, brewers, literally saint of anything. The patron saint of
Go
literally
to
anything.
go to 2-2.
2-2.
Yeah.
Generosity and travels. Looks like his parents passed away, and then he distributed their wealth to the poor. So he would come and bring gifts and money and etc. to the poor folk,
Yeah.
I guess. So I guess that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, it looks like it goes on to just say that he did a lot of things. He helped some girls get out of prostitution rings.
Oh, good for
Interesting,
him.
Yeah. So,
Well, lots of good
really,
stuff.
Yeah, he did. He was just like a good dude, and I think just like anything, it got blown out of proportion.
Yeah, and fantasized and
Let's take something good and awesome and turn it into something that makes money.
that makes a lot of money and makes us toys and gives
Santa.
beliefs to children that if they're bad, they don't get toys.
Yeah, lumps of coal.
Yep.
That's what everybody wants.
Yeah, where did that come from?
Oh my gosh, I don't know.
I wonder.
Probably the Germans. The Germans ruined they were the inventors of actually a lot of the modern fairy tales that we have. So it's probably them.
Yep.
Lumps of coal you shall have.
Are we just blaming everything on the Germans? I
Yeah,
hope not.
we're just no.
We shouldn't do
yeah.
that.
Okay. Santa got ruined by the Germans.
We're gonna get chastised.
You heard it here.
on the internet for blaming things on
Hey,
Germans.
I'm Swiss. I'm neutral. Okay. I'm hands up.
Hands up.
Ancestry.com right here. I did it. I'm English and Swiss, and
So
I
you-
had a great grandmother named America.
So you spit in a tube?
No, my parents did.
Oh, okay. They did the whole
I came from
23andMe
them,
thing.
so that's it worked for me too.
Did they do the 23andMe?
Yeah. Well, they did the solid top dollar thing.
Oh,
that you
wow.
needed to do, yeah.
Cool.
Found out a bunch of stuff. I mean, I had. Let's see. I was just talking to Brooke about this morning. I had. Yeah, a grandmother named America.
America.
That was her first name, and then
America.
a lot of my family lives in the Kentucky area, and some from Virginia, and we had some slaves. I'm not proud of it, but we were slave owners.
Jeez.
I mean, good slave owners.
I'm going to leave
sure.
now. See you guys.
Yeah, good ones.
I can't
though,
hang out with this
right?
guy anymore.
Is that a thing? No, that's not a thing. I'm just glad we live in 2019.
I think there's good and bad in almost every situation.
Yeah.
I think you could still have a good slave owner. I mean, they treated I would imagine that some people treated their slaves much better than others.
Yeah, I think the generalization of having slaves though is bad.
Well, yes, absolutely, yeah. But I think there is a good
You
and
can be a
bad
kind
within that
person
situation.
still. You know.
Yeah.
Hopefully, my family from the past were kind.
Yeah.
But I have no idea. I didn't know them.
You don't have any influence on them anyways.
Nope. Didn't know
They're
'em.
dead and gone,
Yep.
unfortunately.
America.
Maybe fortunately, because they were slave owners.
Could be.
I don't know.
Could be.
Both my parents were adopted, so I actually don't really know what my
Oh, that's crazy.
lineage is at all. So it kind of starts with my mom and dad. Because most of the adoptions back then, when they were adopted, were closed adoptions, so they
Right.
didn't get to see into their files or any of that. I think my mom has done some research into who was her parents, who her parents were, and
Yeah.
but she's never met them.
Yeah, there's some adoptions on my dad's side of the family too, and it's hard to fill in the holes. But with the more and more people that do Ancestry.com type stuff, the more records of DNA that we have that you can match up. And there's been lots of people that have found like long lost brothers or people that have been adopted and maybe they were too young to remember that they also had a sibling. They got adopted by a different family or something like that. I mean, things like that happen all the time. So.
Mhm. I'm going to do
kinda
a segue here, actually,
Yeah.
because we're talking about adoption,
Yeah.
and that kind of goes well with The Mandalorian.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
So the first episode of Mandalorian.
Dude, this is like
How far have you gone? Actually, let's put our boundaries.
there's
up here.
5 episodes. I've watched all 5
Okay, me too.
at this point.
So there's going to be some spoilers, just so everybody knows.
Episode 6 will be out by the time they're listening to this.
Yes,
so
it will. But
we haven't seen it.
We'll just talk about up to 5. The first episode, it's going through. I mean, you have this mysterious man with a mask on,
Yeah.
and
How much? Wait, let me back up.
I don't know very much about Star Wars lore.
Okay, this is what I was going to ask you. Like, rate yourself 1 to 10 on like what your knowledge of Star Wars is.
I mean, I've seen all of the movies. I've
Sure.
seen almost every single one of them. Whether I know the like background story line plot that's supposed to happen through all of them, not very well.
Let me-
so it's like,
let me ask you
I'm
a few
4.
questions.
I'm a 4, probably.
Do you know what the name of the ship is that Boba Fett drives?
No.
Okay. Let me see. Let me see if I can think of another one. Do you know what the name of the monster that lives in the sand in Tatooine is?
No.
Okay. So, yeah, you're probably a 4.
He just discounts me. Nope.
Yep,
not a
you're a
Star Wars
4.
fan. You don't know either of the answers
You're
to
a
those
4.
2 questions.
Yeah. Do you know what the shuttle Tidarian is?
No.
See? Okay. He's a 4.
Well, my favorite
He's a 4!
my favorite Star Wars was the one where Anakin is like driving the race buggies. Remember the race things?
Oh, yeah. That's your favorite Star Wars?
Well, it's my favorite like portion of a Star Wars movie where he's racing
The pod
this-
racers
the
are
pod racers.
amazing. Yeah,
They were so cool. I had
that was really cool.
I had like toy versions of them when I was a kid, and so that was like my favorite part of a Star Wars movie was when he was
Without
racing those.
going too nerdy,
Yeah.
the pod racing was super cool.
Yeah.
That movie was terrible.
Yeah, I don't really remember what that movie
There was so much about that movie that was just
wrong.
a bad idea.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But the pod racing was legit. Okay, so this is, since Disney bought Star Wars.
It's now on Disney Plus.
Yeah. They've made a lot of stuff. They've really kind of made Star Wars take off with toys, movies, cartoons.
There's a video game out now too. That's
Yeah.
actually pretty cool to watch.
Man. They've done a really, really great job.
I've been
Even
watching
their
people
Star
play
Wars
that.
experience at Disney
Yeah,
World
yeah.
is awesome.
They have the
So now-
ship. They got the Millennial Falcon.
The Millennial Falcon. But now since Disney Plus has come out, now they're making their own TV series content. So there's more to come out. And the Mandalorian isn't just the only one. There's other series. That come out.
I'm really excited for where Disney Plus is going, and
Yeah.
like we said on that one podcast, it's just another subscription to be paying for. But because of Verizon, that's a cool deal where they're giving everybody Disney Plus. But I'm really excited to see what comes out. I'm also excited to see what comes out on Apple TV
Yes.
Plus. I've been watching all of those shows, and they're really good. And I want you to watch them too.
Yeah,
so
we need to get
I
some
gotta
reviews going
figure out
on
if
those.
I can give you my login so you can. I don't know how that's gonna work.
I don't have an Apple TV.
Yeah, but you have
device.
your computer.
Okay, yeah, you're right. I got my
You can
computer.
watch it on your computer.
So I
Well,
know
we'll
you
figure
were
it
you were trying to set up the first episode.
Yeah.
So I was going to kind of add to what you said about the Mandalorian. The Mandalorian is like they mention it all the time, you know, how hard it is to find or meet a Mandalorian. And they're kind of a there's not a lot of information about the Mandalorians. They're mysterious people. They're very set in their ways, and they're known for specific things. They have a reputation. And then also the same thing for the little Baby Yoda character. There's almost no information for that race. So Yoda was the only one of his kind.
And we know that it's not actually Yoda, by the
Yes.
way, for people who are probably going to be
it's
like
Baby Yoda,
commenting.
but it's not.
It's not actually
Baby Yoda.
Yoda himself. It's just a baby of his kind, and he's the only one of his kind that we've ever seen
Yes.
in the Star Wars series. So
And the Mandalorian takes place 5 years after Return of the Jedi. So, spoiler alert: if you have never seen Return of the Jedi, then you're not going to care about what we're saying anyway. But Yoda dies at the end of Return of the Jedi. So. He dies. Well, he becomes part of the Force. Okay, so some purists are going to be like, he doesn't die. He becomes part of the Force. He does.
I was mostly looking back at this blue light. That's like, it seemed like it was flickering for a second.
It did. It did flicker.
I was
for
scared.
a
I thought I was going to die. Anyways, so
But yes.
so yeah.
It's not
One
really
one
Baby
thing,
Yoda.
one question I wanted to ask you about
Yeah.
a Mandalorian is:
Yeah.
did you know what a Mandalorian was before the show was like? What do I want to say here? Advertised?
Yes.
Because I had no idea.
Vaguely,
I didn't even
actually.
know what. Well, like I mean, I knew there were people that wore that type of suit, like
Yeah.
Boba Fett, right? Was
Sure.
a Mandalorian, I guess you
Mhm.
could say, because he wore the suit.
He had
that-
Mandalorian armor.
yeah, yeah, the Beskar steel or whatever.
Yes.
So I knew that there were people that wore that type of outfit, but I didn't know what they were.
Sure.
And I'm not a nerd enough to like research this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Did you have to research it to figure out?
A
Or
little
do
bit.
they mention it
You know,
in
they
the Star Wars series?
Yeah, they do mention Mandalorians a couple of different times in the series, but mainly there's been books written about Mandalorians. So a lot of this is new story, but a lot of the history of the Mandalorians has come from authors who have written about Star Wars lore and that have been adopted into canon. You know, there's a lot of Star Wars lore that's not canon out there, but
Canon. What are you saying?
canon means like it's true Star Wars stuff.
Oh, okay.
Like you can depend on this to be
Why do they call it that?
why they call it canon.
Yeah, what is canon?
Canon is like a word that you use to mean that it is true to the sense of the story.
Oh, okay.
And so
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Cool. Learn something new.
yeah, there's
That's why we do this.
like Star Trek has canon stuff, and then they have non-canon stuff to where
Oh, okay.
people just go off and they write stories
It's
about
like fan fiction
a
type
character.
stuff.
Yeah. But there's some that maybe they're authorized to write, but you have to be so knowledgeable of this stuff because everything has to be able to connect for past stuff and future stuff.
Yeah, that
for it to
seems
be
like
in
it's
canon.
probably one of the hardest things to do with
Yeah.
Star Wars, at least, because there's so many different movies and they take place in different time frames, and it's like trying to piece all the puzzles
Sure.
or piece the pieces of the puzzle together is
Yeah.
just really hard.
There's portions of the newer movies that have been in books before, and they got canonized by the movies.
Oh,
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah.
So some fans have wrote fan fiction that has actually turned into nonfiction
Yeah, exactly.
in the sense of Star Wars, I guess.
For sure.
All right, well, let's get back to the first episode.
Yeah.
So-
Mandalorian.
This guy shows up. It's like nobody knows who he is. He hasn't taken his helmet off, and even to the 5th episode, he does take his helmet off once, but you still don't see his face.
Right. It's part of
At
their
least once or maybe
tradition
twice.
as a Mandalorian.
Yeah, yeah, and because
It's like an oath that they take.
right, and they explain that in the 5th episode. I think it's either 4th or 5th episode where he basically says he's talking to the woman from the camp that they're
Yeah.
in, and he's like, "Hey, I can't take this off because once I do, I cannot put it back on."
Right.
Well, like if somebody sees him, he can take it off. He just
And
can't.
she's
have
like, well,
anybody
what
see
happens
him.
if you do take it off? And he's like, well, I
Yeah.
can never put it back on
Yeah.
again.
So I guess we learned a little bit more about
Yeah.
Mandalorians in that episode for sure.
You can look up on IMDb to see the character, like the guy, what
The
he
guy
looks
that-
like.
I haven't done that yet.
But-
We definitely should here in a little bit.
Yeah, but I don't know if we'll ever get to know I hope he doesn't.
What he's
take
supposed
it.
to look like in the.
Like the way I feel about it now, I hope he doesn't take it because I want him to be so badass and like
That he never takes
solid.
it off. Yeah.
I want him to be so successful, but I don't know if that success is going to be dependent on him keeping an oath or not because he's already gone against the guild.
That is true. Yeah. Spoiler alert. we're in the first episode.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
talking about. But yeah, so he's some mysterious character at least to the audience, and he like does some crazy stuff in the first episode. But the first episode ends with him finding what was supposed to be a bounty
Yeah.
that he was supposed to collect.
A very hard one to get. A sought after.
A 50-year-old baby.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah. So he ends up finding this Baby Yoda character, which I don't really like calling him a Baby Yoda, but it's I don't know what we would call him else otherwise, you know?
Yeah.
What do you call this creature?
We don't know yet.
Baby green boy.
But I did see that Jon Favreau, who is the writer, director, producer, sound guy, he's probably going to star in it at some point. You know, Jon Favreau, he wrote and directed Avengers and all that stuff. He's just an amazing director, producer. But he said that in the first season, the origin of Baby Yoda will be revealed.
Cool. That's really cool.
And we haven't got to that point yet, but he said it's going to happen.
The other thing is how many episodes are going to be in a season? Because we already have 5. There's going to be 6 by the time this podcast is out.
Yeah.
Like, are they going to stop it at 12? Are they going to stop it at 15? Are they going to stop it at 18? Are they going to stop it at 20? What?
Maybe it's like...
Maybe it's a short series. Maybe it's 8.
Right. Yeah.
Who knows? Like, because at least in my experience, most of the Netflix like series have like 12 episodes, depending on how long they are. Like if they're short episodes, like 30 minutes,
Yeah.
they normally do more episodes. But if they're longer ones, like 45 minutes to an hour, they're normally like 10 to 12 episode series, like seasons. I guess.
I can't really decide if it's moving fast or slow because according to the story that's laid out, the simple part of the story, bounty hunter getting a bounty and turning him in, I feel like that part of the story is already 6 episodes. It's taking a long time. Like they've drawn out that portion of it. But then there's other parts of the story which are moving fast. Like you almost had a relationship with some chick in a village,
in
right?
less than one episode.
Yeah.
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 It was
So-
like 30 minutes of an episode. He almost had.
And it
a
looked like they
relationship
were
with this
almost
girl.
falling in love, and she's taking his. I was like, "What?"
And they've never even seen each other face to face because he's always wearing his helmet.
Yeah, so
I thought that
I'm
was
like,
interesting.
some things are moving a little fast here, maybe.
Yeah.
Characters are. There's been a few characters that are only one episode too. You know,
I think
so
my favorite.
Hopefully, they come back.
My favorite portion of the show so far
Yeah.
was the fight with the stormtroopers in the like what was it called, the base, I guess.
Yeah,
on
when he
that
first went in there to collect his
to,
reward.
Yeah, to return the bounty and collect the reward of the Beskar steel.
The best
He
Scotch steel.
collected the reward, and then he gets his new dope armor.
So cool.
It's so cool and shiny. And then he just goes back and blows a hole in the side of this place to get the Baby Yoda back.
Which he's kind of like sweet on now. You know, he's
like a dad, and that's why the adopted thing
Yeah.
was like why
sure.
I swung into this is because he
totally
definitely
adopted it.
adopted this Baby Yoda.
Yeah, it's he's been cared, but he's terrible at it at the same time. Like
Absolutely.
as obvious, you know, he does no idea. He's just like, stop touching that stuff. You know, leaves him alone.
Yeah.
You know, forgets to feed him.
I like the part where the Baby Yoda thinks that the throttle on the ship is like a toy, the like little ball on the top of it.
Yeah. Takes it away and puts it back, but at the end of the episode, he gives it back.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Yeah, all right. It's
That's
like
totally
a
a dad
typical
thing.
dad thing
Yeah,
that happens in real
totally.
life. Yeah.
I think it's pretty cool that they set it up to where like the Mandalorian is you know, Baby Yoda's, you know, adopted dad. I think it's cool. It is such a badass dad, you know.
Absolutely.
Like-
If my dad was that badass, I'd definitely hang out with him.
I know, it's so cool. And he does badass things too. But they give him a weak side too. And he's not invincible, but he's like fast and cunning, and you know, he's able to do stuff, and his armor has protected him from dying like a bunch of times already. So
Absolutely. He got sniped at like 6 times in one episode.
yeah, I'm like, I want that armor right there. That armor is sick.
The other bounty hunter. This was the 6th episode, I think, or
Yes.
the 5th episode. Sorry, the last episode that just came out.
Yeah.
Where he's helping this bounty hunter, this other bounty hunter, try to get a bounty, and the chick's sniping at him. And he's
Yeah.
like, he's like, hit the steel, it's fine. He's like, wait, I don't have any on. The other guy,
Yeah.
he's like, well, keep your head down.
Right, and he just stood and took that last shot. He was like,
Yeah.
just stood there because he
Yeah.
knew.
Mm-hmm.
That was awesome. It was really, really cool. I don't know. I feel like that this last episode was very predictable, though.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, I kind of knew, some things were going to happen. I kept calling it out. I was watching it with my kids. I'm like, oh, he's going to go do this. Oh, he's going to go do this. But it was still entertaining nonetheless.
Yeah. Sometimes though, with storylines, it just kind of has to be predictable.
Sure.
There's like, it's pretty hard to make things to where they're absolutely unpredictable. Because I mean, you can predict a good amount of most TV shows.
Yes.
But there's always one or two things maybe in an episode that you're like, I didn't expect that to happen. Cool.
You know what? I just feel like that this has got that Disney really hit a gold mine with this. I feel like, and not because it's a new story, but because there's so many different avenues for them to take in what Disney's involved in, like their theme park, toys, cartoons.
The amount of toy Baby Yodas that are going to come out now.
Gosh. And he's
baby,
seriously the cutest thing I've
absolutely.
ever seen.
And the Baby Yoda memes are so funny.
They are.
They're so good.
It's just a meme lord now.
Yep. Yeah.
Meme lord Baby Yoda.
Yep.
Yeah, he's really cool. Just so cute. And like I love that even though he's 50 years old, they made him have like baby sounds.
Yeah.
Like Yoda talks, okay?
Right. And this
So eventually he learns how to talk.
Baby Yoda is probably more intelligent than the guy that's taking care of him already.
Yeah.
He just can't talk or can't speak, can't do anything.
It's so weird to think about that somebody would take that long to develop certain things, but
it does give sense to what Yoda was. Because he was very wise,
Yeah.
and the reason why is because he's seen so much stuff happen. Like
Yeah.
we've talked about the Joe Rogan podcast before, not on the podcast here, but we've talked about it in just us two chatting away, and the amount
my
of
theory
knowledge,
of him being the smartest guy ever seen.
yes, the amount of knowledge that this guy has gained just from talking to people, and
Yes.
and basically he's observing someone on the other side of the table, because I've watched probably 7 or 8 full episodes now. I just started this last week, actually. I was watching the Neil deGrasse Tyson ones, and this one with Jordan Peterson. Somebody's in our chat, and we'll address this question here shortly.
Yeah, I agree.
But what was I saying now that I got distracted?
You were talking about Joe Rogan.
Oh, yeah. So I've been watching it, and he asks a question, and then the person that's on the podcast with him normally goes off for like 20 minutes almost in between questions. And it's like he's just absorbing all this information, and that shines a light on how Yoda became.
I feel like that's
So
Baby
intelligent.
Yoda is just like that. Like he's got this big wide eyes.
Big eyes.
He doesn't say anything. He's just observing, and it's like, we have 2 ears and 2 eyes for a reason and 1 mouth. So
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
feel like people get that mixed up a lot.
Yeah, they definitely do.
And maybe it's best, and that's just how we're designed to observe, and
Mhm.
hear and listen. And maybe we would be better people.
I think we'd be much better off. And maybe
wiser anyway.
Maybe Disney's trying to tell us something here.
Yeah.
So we had somebody in our chat.
Yeah, let's answer our question here.
Ichacone or something like that.
Yeah,
Ichacone.
thanks for following.
Yeah, thank you for following, first of all.
That's awesome.
And he's saying, I know this is irrelevant, but thoughts on Juice WRLD's death? I'd say it's tragic.
Yeah.
He's a pretty young dude from what I can...
21.
Yeah, he was, younger than me.
Yeah.
And I'm a pretty young dude. I'm the youngest guy in my whole department at work.
For sure.
And, so really young, definitely gone too soon. I didn't really... I had heard some of his songs before, but I don't, specifically listen to Juice WRLD's songs because... I actually didn't even know who he was until today,
Sure.
which is sad because, he has made some pretty good music, and I have definitely listened to some of his songs before.
Yeah, I've seen some
but
his
I
name
listened,
featured on a few songs
Yeah,
that
yeah,
I like,
yeah.
with Post Malone
Mhm,
and things like
mhm.
that. And I didn't, I've never done any research or anything. He's an up and coming artist that I just hadn't noticed really yet.
Mhm.
I noticed, but I hadn't really got to the point to where I'm looking him up yet until today. I'm like, wow, I want to know. My first thought is how this guy died. Like, what's he into? What's
yeah,
what's
I didn't really look into the
he,
cause
was
of
he
his
doing
death.
something
I
he
know
shouldn't have done? Or
I know he
what?
had a seizure,
Yeah.
but there are a lot of things that can cause a seizure, and
Sure.
like it sucks to be a rapper and a part of that community because sometimes you get labeled
Yeah.
even if you didn't do anything. Like what I'm saying is most of the time they get labeled as like drug addicts or
Sure.
et cetera, et cetera.
Involved in a bunch of stuff.
Involved
they
in stuff they shouldn't be involved in. But and sometimes it's true, but in this case maybe it's not. Maybe he just has a history of seizures in his life and he had that as a medical problem and somebody didn't help him out in time and
For sure.
passed
There's
away,
probably some
unfortunately.
information out there that has been revealed about it that we just don't know yet because
Yeah. It happened
it
today,
happened
right?
today.
Yeah.
Literally today, so
Yeah.
we haven't had much time to think about it. Or
Probably even haven't completed the autopsy yet. So
Yeah.
There's a lot of information out there that has yet to be uncovered that we definitely need to at least see before we have a better opinion on it. But
One
at
thing
this
we do
point,
know,
it's
it's
sad.
it's sad. It's
Yeah.
tragic. It's not good. Especially, I'm sure that he had some influence on people, and they're distraught about it.
Yeah, Ninja had tweeted about it actually today. I saw his tweet because I follow him on Twitter, and he was saying that he's definitely moved by it. He listened to his song. He's his top artist on his Rewind that we were talking about
Wow.
earlier. So he definitely has some impact in some people's lives, and he sings about some pretty tough stuff, and he sings about some like happy stuff. But
Yeah.
at least the general consensus of what I was listening to today was kind of the sadder portion of some of his music. So
For
I was
sure.
kind of, it was actually, he has a lyric in one of his songs that says, "If I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die young."
Yeah.
And I thought that was really crazy because I
Yeah.
was listening to his stuff because I knew that he had passed away today,
Yeah.
and that lyric stuck out to me in one of his songs. So it's
That's
really sad.
crazy. Yeah, an unfortunate prophecy there. For
Yes,
sure.
absolutely. Yeah, unfortunate. But anyways,
Well, it's a good question.
Yeah, great question. Thank you for asking.
I'm glad that we brought it up because that's some relevant things for today. I just don't know as much information as I'd like to about it. But yeah, hey, Mandalorian. If you haven't seen it yet, go watch it on Disney Plus. If you got a Verizon, unlimited
Yeah,
plan,
yeah.
then you can have it free for the first year. So just go watch Mandalorian. It's so good.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. It's the #1 show streamed right now, and there's no sex, no violence, there's violence, but there's what was it? There's no language, and adults still like it. So believe it or not, you can make cool stuff without that,
And you can watch it with your kids.
and you can watch it with your kids. Yeah, so that's cool.
There
Although-
is some violence, I guess, and I don't know.
Definitely.
A lot of people don't want to expose their children to certain types of violence, but because there's not really
lasers
like
and aliens.
there's not any blood really.
No.
I don't think it's mostly just like a stormtrooper gets shot with like one of the laser beams.
Yeah.
Laser beams.
A laser shoots a robot-looking thing. Wow.
Yeah. So there's like not really an emotion to a stormtrooper dying because you can't really see their face.
For sure.
But I guess
For sure.
they are humans, right? Stormtroopers are humans.
Yes,
technically.
at this point, yes. In the
From
earlier,
what we know. From what
well,
we
yeah,
know about Star
they've
Wars.
always been human, but they were clones of humans before in the
Oh,
earlier.
that's why they call it the Clone
earlier-
Wars.
Yes.
See, this is how far my knowledge goes.
But
I'm learning stuff
At this point,
right now.
generations of them have passed,
Okay.
and now they are
Technically human beings from
Yeah.
clone.
no, they're just like
Descendants?
people who have joined into the
Oh,
Empire
okay.
Army, and they've become stormtroopers and things like that. But the original army of troopers was clones of Boba Fett's dad, Jango.
Oh, okay.
Fett. And all of that is, they touch on it in this episode 2. But most of that is in the Clone Wars TV show, which is by far the best Star Wars.
Is it animated?
Mandalorian is like pulling up on.
Is it animated?
It's animated, yes.
Yeah.
I know how
I
you are
know,
about
I
animated
know.
stuff. But
I don't know
seriously, the
why
Clone
I
Wars is the
have
best Star Wars movie TV show out there. Mandalorian's coming up
Yeah.
on it though.
I
Clone
binge
Wars is
watched the
awesome.
last like 3 episodes or whatever of Mandalorian because I hadn't been watching them every week. But now I'm caught up, so I'm like, dang it. I wish there was more out. I wish it was like Netflix where they just like release the whole season all at once. But it's like I like it though. at least with Apple TV Plus, it's like that too, where
Yeah.
the 2 shows that Sarah and I are watching are releasing an episode every week.
Yeah.
And so it gives you something to look forward to, kind of, which is
Sure,
nice.
as opposed to Netflix, where they just give you the whole thing
Yeah,
and you
and-
binge watch it till 3:00 in the morning.
And then you feel like junk,
Yeah.
and you're mad that
I
the
like
season
it.
ended a certain way.
I mean,
and-
we got something to look forward to watch with the kids.
yep, absolutely.
week, so.
I like it too.
Cool.
So
All right.
Mandalorian, really cool.
Yeah, cool.
Yep.
Let's touch
what's our
on,
next one?
on our one last thing here, and then we'll end our podcast
Section.
section here. I love that you just spam that thing. It sounds, yeah, spam it. So Halo Reach, dude. I know you're not like the biggest Halo player out
Which-
there, but
it's so funny. So I'm like, I don't know anything about Star Wars. I've watched every single movie
yeah,
and
that's okay.
thing that has come out besides the animated version of the Clone Wars, I guess.
It's the best one.
And I've also played all of the Halos. I'm pretty sure I've played all of them. I don't know if I played the campaign in all of them, but I've
Yeah.
played multiplayer
Yeah,
with my little brother, and I still like don't know that much about Halo
that's
at all.
okay.
And I don't know much about the Halo Reach release that just came out.
There's there's even books and things like that written about Halo too.
Well, Ninja became famous from Halo. Did you know that?
yeah,
He was a competitive Halo player before he became famous for streaming.
Dude,
and Fortnite.
that
and et cetera, et
is
cetera.
cool. I remember when Halo 3 came out, there was that Halo tournaments were a big time deal.
Mhm.
Even here,
LAN tournaments, all
yeah.
that, and online tournaments.
yeah,
Yeah.
LAN party. Oh man, Microsoft they messed up when they made the Xbox One. You couldn't LAN party with the Xbox One. They messed it up.
You can't LAN party with an Xbox One?
Nope. They messed it up.
Idiots.
I know. Hopefully they fix that on the next console release.
So,
but
What's new with Halo Reach? What is this?
So Halo Reach obviously didn't come out just now, but Halo Reach is arguably, some people believe, but I'm one of them, that it's the best Halo game ever made.
Did they do a re-release or did they
It is.
remaster it? Or
They did. They a few years back, 2 years ago, I think, they came out with the Master Chief Collection, which is all the Halo games together
in
that you
one
could-
box.
Yeah, in one box. And you could download it digitally and play in multiplayer throughout all of the games. So it's really cool. You could get in multiplayer and you could play maps from every game, and they would have the armor would look the same from those games and things like that. And,
What about?
and the types of
Didn't they have different weapons in each different game though?
yeah, and
So
and
were you restricted to those weapons?
like the
when
first
you were
two
playing?
games you couldn't dual wield.
Yeah.
So like if you were playing in a map from Halo 1 or 2, you could not dual wield in that game,
Oh,
in that match, and things like that. So the Master Chief Collection was a
That
big
seems-
hit.
that seems like a lot of programming. Oh my gosh, to
But
try and figure that out.
Halo Reach was the last game that Bungie made with 343 Industries before they sold the whole franchise to 343 Industries. So, and also Halo Reach did not have Master Chief in it. Master Chief is a main character from Halo. Didn't have Master Chief. It had other Spartans, like the super soldier that Master Chief is. And it was like a side story, but it's the best one. It's arguably, of course. There's people out there that probably think that Halo Reach is
And are screaming at their phone
like,
or their
"No, it's
TV or their whatever
Reach
they're
is
watching on.
not."
Yeah.
But so now with the success of the Master Chief Collection, they've remastered Reach also, and they've released it into the Master Chief Collection. So now you can play that also in the multiplayers. You can do co-op campaigns, and then play it all together, which is really great. But the main part of this is that Halo Reach has never been available for PCers.
Ah, that's the big deal.
So now you can
Okay.
play Halo Reach on PC, and which is really, really great because now, console and PC gaming online is starting to kind of
They're
mesh
meshing.
together,
Yeah.
which is no one ever thought that would happen.
No, definitely not.
But now that it is, and now you can play in these servers
Cross-platform. All
yeah.
that. Yeah. That's really cool. And I think it's a cool thing that they're starting to merge. There's definitely something to be said about aiming as a PC player and aiming
Yes.
as a controller player and what they're doing to combat the issues with like auto aim and all that. So it'd be interesting to maybe even do a podcast episode on doing some research and
Sure.
actually figuring out what could possibly be the issues moving forward, especially with tournaments. I mean, Fortnite has million, 2 million, 3 million, 50 million, $100 million tournaments.
Yeah.
That are like cross. Basically, you can. It's PC technically, I think. Yeah, they're running on PCs.
Sure.
And some people are using controllers and some people are using a mouse. So it's like, how do you combat the issues with like an L2? So there's something called L2 spamming. So you're aiming down the sight and shooting at the same time. So it every time you hit them, no matter what, because it auto locks to their head or their whatever, the part of their body that you're aiming at. So I don't know. I think it'd be cool to research into that. And
with
see
some of
what's
these
going
new
on.
controllers, and they have like
the
you have
paddles.
like 6 new buttons, 6 extra buttons on there. It's
We were
almost
looking
like
at that
playing,
at the Microsoft store in Denver.
I feel like it's almost like playing with a programmable keyboard, only
is,
just in a different way. But so I was reading this thing since Reach just came out for PC. There's a lot of gamers that I was watching some Twitch streams too, and these guys were saying that they've waited, like I've waited years to be able to play with a mouse and keyboard on Reach. So now that they can, and there was some other people on there that were like, hey, are you guys playing with controllers? And they're like, of course we're not playing with controllers. Why would we play with a controller? We've been playing with a controller for years.
Yeah.
Now I can play with my keyboard and mouse.
That's funny.
That's the whole point, is it came out for PC, so you can use a mouse and a keyboard. And I guess a lot of people are really loving it. They love the way the game feels with the mouse and keyboards. I don't know if it's improved their gameplay or not, but maybe it's just experience of it. But
I'm sure avid PC players that would have to go to a console to play this game and now are playing on a PC are much better on the PC than they are on a console, because they've been. I mean, a lot of PC players, once they start playing on a PC, they don't play on the consoles anymore unless they're playing like a co-op game just for fun. They don't like play competitively on their consoles anymore, because you're capped out at 60 frames on most consoles, and it's kind of a pain in the butt because you're used to seeing 144 frames of buttery smooth
that's what
video
I'm saying.
games.
Like, now that we're cross-platform, like, is there going to be some sort of advantage now to?
That's what I want to research is how many advantages and disadvantages are there to playing on a console with a controller, or playing on a PC with a controller even, or as opposed to just playing on a PC with a keyboard and mouse. I'd like to look into that.
So like, I wonder if the theory is like, if you did a tournament with, including every platform, would the final people be on PCs?
It depends, because there are some Fortnite players that are controller players that play on a PC with a controller, and sometimes they are better than a PC player with a keyboard and mouse. A very good PC player, though, can most of the time outplay a controller player.
Maybe a controller on a PC is like the best of both worlds sometimes, because you get the controllability and the programming of the PC, so you can control like how, your sensitivity and things like that more precise than you can on a console where you're just turning it up from 1 to 8.
Yeah, and you get and still, while you're playing on the PC now with a controller, you get the frame rate upgrade and all that.
Yeah.
So there's definitely an advantage to being on a PC. So if you are a controller player and you play on console, you would have a better experience, I think, still if you moved to a PC and started playing on a PC with a controller.
I was watching one guy who was using the zoom feature on keyboard. So he'd be sniping and this guy all the way across the map. And it would only get so big because it's programmed into, he's only a 10 times zoom. And and then he would use the zoom feature on his keyboard and make that portion of the screen huge. And I'm like, that's totally an advantage to somebody.
Definitely cheating.
That, you wouldn't have on.
Yeah.
So he was just like, all right. Then,
I think you could consider that cheating. I don't know. There's probably people out there that wouldn't, but I
don't know if he had a
would
program
consider
to his
that cheating.
roller or something. He would just like roll.
Well, sometimes you can program like a macro on your keyboard. Like we program these where I can switch between stuff like that. You can program just a single button touch. And
spam. Which is spam button? I want to spam it.
4. You can program a single button to do all of that all at once. So you're zooming in, and then you press it again to zoom back out. So maybe he has something like that set up.
Maybe.
It's crazy. So Halo Reach is now out on PC.
It is. It's a big time deal, and I think that this is a great time for them to release it, and it's no surprise. They probably have marketing people out there saying, hey, Fortnite released their
This
thing.
is the best time now.
Yeah, this is the most. This game is not as popular as I thought that it was going to be. This is one of the most popular games of all time. You need to be able to compete with the online gameplay and the cross-platform stuff. You do this or you die. So maybe I'm sure that had to be part of it, and it's a great time for them to do it, especially right before Christmas, because you have to buy things like the campaign, co-op campaign. You have to download that, even though if you already have the Masterchief Collection, it was a free download for the game itself. But yeah, it's a good time for them to do it. And I think it was a great idea. I can't actually wait till we're done with this so I can go play some Halo Reach. So, yeah, it'd be cool.
Well, I think we're going to end the podcast there.
Yeah.
The podcast section of this. If you want to hang around, we're going to do a little whatever section here and talk about just random crap without schedule.
Yeah,
things
for sure.
To talk about. Just talk about whatever.
We get wild
whatever
in the
we want.
whatever section.
So, thanks for listening, listeners. Keep checking them notifications. Make sure you're listening. Make sure you're downloading. Give us some reviews if you can. I think on Apple's podcast thing, you can leave reviews.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we have any yet. I haven't actually checked, but it'd be good to look into that and see if we can get some reviews, some positive reviews, so we can go up on the charts, so we can get some more listeners, get some more downloads, get more people knowing who we are and what we do, because we think we have some pretty good content. Put out
I appreciate you podcast listeners out there, because I'm one of you. I love my podcasting. My music that I listen to on Spotify went way down this year because my podcast listening went way up.
Yep.
And it's just, I think that's one of the best ways to just dive into learning as much as you possibly can, and some of the best entertainment out there is in podcasts. So I'm with you. Keep listening, and I'll keep listening too.
Yeah, and we do stream live on Twitch, so if you did want to see a video of us actually talking to each other and punching each other in the face sometimes and dancing ridiculously at the beginning of the episode when you're hearing the music, definitely tune in to twitch.tv/PhilTV. We'll be live at least once a week, I think is what we've been on the schedule for. And we post a podcast every 2 weeks, so just watch for those on Mondays, I think is what it is. Sunday night technically, but Mondays.
Heck
and
yeah, brother.
check us out on YouTube.
Peace out.
Peace out, brothers.